there, my name is Emma, and in today's video we will be looking at the IELTS, which is a test that ESL students take when they want to immigrate to certain countries such as Canada, Australia, England. Okay. What types of questions are there? Well, sometimes they'll ask you to predict something, to analyze something, to compare. They might ask you to give your opinion. Oftentimes, you're looking at the future as well. So, for example, what sports do you think will be played in the future? Okay, so often future questions. So part 3 is based on a theme. In part 2, you're given something to describe often. It might be a historical building, it might be a teacher you really liked, it might be an object precious to you. Part 3 continues from part 2. So whatever you talked about in part 2, you're going to talk about in part 3, but at a more abstract level. So what do I mean by this? Well, if in part 2 you talked about your favorite teacher, in part 3 you might be talking about education. You might talk about how it is different today than it used to be. Okay, so you might be looking at education. Some of the topics you may look at in part 3, technology is very common, education, environment, TV influence, leisure activities, shopping, sports, transportation. So these are all very common topics. And so you'll be asked between 4 to 6 questions on these types of topics. So an example, you may be asked, how are education priorities